if that's it for the intros, then and the good news, let's who's got some questions? And I think Amanda, it sounded like you did. Not to single you out, but to
No, I'm here because I need help. So I have built my own I guess it's my portfolio on the Experience Cloud, and I'm trying to work through the web to lead automation, and so I'm struggling a little bit with that. I have some emails that were bounced back to me about why, but I'm not exactly sure how to fix it. So I know, like you said, this is a pretty advanced group, but this I'm sure is very basic for you guys, but it's just not for me at this point. So I may have to share a screen or something. I'm not sure.
don't take that as it's a pretty advanced group. It's just that sometimes if we start getting into the weeds on a topic and we're too deep, just pull us back. I wouldn't call it, this is an all levels group for real.
Okay, very good.
And yes, if you can share your screen, that's good. A lot of times someone might be bringing something they can't share, and that makes it a little harder as we try to talk around it. But when you can share your screen, that's great. You can actually show us.
Okay, let me start it. It's slowly coming up here. Let me make sure I select the actual correct screen here. Okay, give me just a second. It's going to come up. Maybe. Oh, I have to push share. There we go. Okay.
Give it a second.
Okay. Am I sharing it?
It claims you are. There you go. Now we can see it. I can see it anyway.
Okay. So yeah, so here I am in my my orgs here. So I'm gonna jump into the portfolio, okay?
Sandy, you got your hand up.
What?
I do. I'm waiting my turn though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, for
Hold on.
questions. Okay, sorry. Knew it. This part. I've been on these Teams calls where some of the people on my teams will jump in, and then others will sit with their hand and wait before we. So I'm like, oh, your hand. What's up?
Okay.
I got
like
mine behind Sandy.
Test of your patience. It's like so slow. I'm sorry.
We all use this. You're not the only one whose Salesforce does this to them.
Okay.
I was building a record page yesterday that needed a lot of tabs and a whole bunch of stuff, and it disconnected me 3 different times yesterday. And when I went to check to see the status, it said it was working fine. It was not. It was not working fine.
Okay.
You should be able to append this to the end of your base URL. I put it in the chat, and it'll give you some stats on your situation.
Oh,
thanks.
There's my daughter. That's my other portfolio. Sorry.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Sorry. It's not coming up. So, I guess I could kind of read. So, oh, here it comes.
Yeah, we should be able to get to it.
Okay. Maybe. Okay.
It's new release time. Everything's going.
Yeah.
Everything's going haywire. Okay. Yeah, so the error that it gave me when I'm looking back in my support from Salesforce is that the lead capture page is wrong. So
right. So I'm not your leads person, but I have dealt with some of the experience stuff. But I know we have folks on the call who deal with the sales side all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just wanting to capture when people visit my portfolio, and then they can put in their information, and it'll start the web to lead, or it'll do the flow, but the flow's not working. So
and are you getting an error message you can share with us? Because that's
do you have the debug logs?
I am a flow.
I'm kind of scared to try to navigate away from this. But yes, I could show that to you if it
don't navigate away. You duplicate, open a new window, do that kind of stuff. Don't.
Okay. Okay. I will
Yeah, let this keep going.
Let it go, let it go. Anybody?
Almost wonder if the Google Meets could be
doing that.
some of the slowdown. I know
We're in Zoom,
there's it. Are we in Zoom?
right?
I'm on too
Yeah,
many. I thought we were,
this is
yeah, with the
Zoom.
Zoom.
I
If
thought
the
we were in
Zoom could be
Zoom.
causing it to slow down. That would explain why my Google stuff's not there. All right.
Okay.
So using web to lead, Amanda, or using flow?
Sorry, I might be getting my terminology wrong. So I'll show you, uh, if it goes. How do let me just minimize this view here, and then I can exit full screen. Maybe I can pull it across. Okay, and okay, we're getting there. So oh,
Breathe. It's really okay.
okay, sorry. You can tell that I'm like nervous.
Yeah.
We're not stressing, so
Okay. All right, so that's going, everything else. Okay. Okay, so this is the contact page, and then this is the form here that I've created on all the fields that I want to capture on the lead object. And then when you click submit, then it should, do all this stuff on the back end. But that is struggling. So I have two things I think that are going on simultaneously. So this is the flow message.
Are you
And
trying
then-
to are you
and I
trying to
can show
show
you-
us the flow?
Yeah, I can show you the flow too.
we're not seeing the
Right.
message though, is what
Yeah.
yeah, if you
Oh, you're not? You don't
No.
see that? Oh,
we just see your web
Okay.
form.
oh.
So
Okay. Well, sorry, I pulled it over to my other screen from my other view, but that obviously didn't work. So maybe I just need to minimize. So there's just a lot going on my screen at the moment.
it
So
might have to do with the sharing, the way that I'm not as
Yeah, you're
set
probably
up.
sharing like your browser window rather than your screen.
Yeah, there's a good
Oh.
chance.
Okay. Well, just I don't know. Maybe I need to practice a little bit. Is there somebody else that maybe is a little bit more prepared than me for a question, and I can
Well,
maybe get a couple things up?
If you do want to get your stuff more together, we can probably move on to the next. I just don't want to abandon you. So
Okay.
but
I will
if you want to
stop.
get your stuff
I'll-
together, we'll come
Yep.
back around to you.
Sounds good.
All right, I think Sandy was.
Hi, how's it going?
Hello.
Pretty good, co-host.
Missed you.
So has anyone used the collection filter thing on flows?
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of situations have you used it in? How? Because we were trying to use it in something, but it keeps passing like null values in, and so I'm assuming we're doing something wrong. And of course, the help information is not always helpful.
So
And
Is it passing the little bracket symbol, the double bracket symbol, when you want it to be null?
we don't want it to be null. We had it's like a get records And then we were filtering it basically down to 1 with that. And then we were trying to grab the record that it pulled and use the information in there to assign values to another record.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we're grabbing it correctly or identifying it correctly, but I'm not sure.
So I just had this
If
problem
they-
2 days ago, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And every other example I seem to look at always seems to use collection filter more as a way to count number of records as opposed to using the records in them.
So it seems like overkill, but once you get the record that you want in the collection filter, run a loop after the collection filter to loop through those, and then you'll get the record that you want and assign that.
Okay.
I actually reached out to Andy about this one because it was driving me bonkers, and that was the solution, and it worked immediately. So then you'll when you loop through that collection, you'll assign it, and then that assignment will have the one record you want. It seems silly because you look at the output on the debug and it shows the record ID.
Right.
You're like, okay, I want that one.
Well, what you were
But-
running into, Dan, is that it's in a collection and you need to now pull it out of the collection to act on it. I don't think that's what Sandy's running into.
Well, I think it is because
Okay.
and that's kind of what I was thinking that was happening, because what I'm seeing is that when we're trying to assign it to a single variable, you can grab, it's called like, just like, you know, how you have a loop. It says
Line
current.
from, item
Yeah.
from, yeah.
And so that's what we were using to try to assign it. But I think that I'm guessing that must not be a valid way to use it, but I don't know how you would use that then instead.
You're having
Um,
Dan's exact issue.
Yeah.
Because it filters to a collection, you need to
Yes.
then get the single record to access the values within it. And that's all. And exactly what Dan said, just do a loop and there's only one
Right.
thing to loop. And just,
Right.
it's the
and that was
backwards
kind
of when you're building a collection. You're
And
you're
that's kind of
assigning.
what I figured, because like when I pulled out something out, like tried to play with something else, I actually saw the output from the filter as a collection variable. And I'm like, I bet that's what the issue is. It's technically a collection variable, so I can't assign a collection to a single record.
It is, yeah. Base Salesforce tools don't have a filter to one object, and then there are some unofficial SF components that do that, and that can give you either a collection or bring out a single. But you just filter through or use the new transform, which I don't want to get into that until it's out of beta. But but those are both ways to pull it out. And then I've used the filter a lot, and you'll use it if you're doing you can do one large get at the beginning, and you don't want to have to do continual calls, and maybe you're going to loop. Maybe you're going to do different things with that information. Maybe some of the records you're going to work with here, and then some of the records you're going to work with here. So you'll just keep filtering that original get instead of having to do more calls to the database.
That gives me an idea for a different flow that I was working on.
Are you on the Flownatic Slack?
I don't think so.
You can actually see Dan's conversation in there.
That's funny.
With Andy helping him out. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to just circle back on our Slack if this isn't what your problem is, but it sounds like it's exactly what Dan had.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I was just trying to see if, like I said, every example when I was trying to look it up was showing it more of like an example of counting records and no other way. So since that's not what we were trying to do, I wanted to.
Yeah, I could see using it for that, but no, I've mostly used it I want to work on a subset of I want to get them all once and then work on a subset. And I've used it more to fix old flows I've seen where people have done a lot of their SOQL inside of loops. Then they do another one with their new, and it's better just to do the first one outside and then filter to get what you need, except the filter is lacking some things. There's an idea out there. I'll try to find and drop the link before this call's over. You can't use the in and not in operators on a filter, which is just crazy.
I have a dumb question about that. Why can't you just filter out the null? Like you don't want null in the first place.
Well,
I'm not sure the question.
So I think the problem that we were doing is that we were using the wrong variable. Like we were kind of like we were trying to use something else to assign it, and because that wasn't a valid thing to use to assign to the new variable, it wasn't assigning anything. And so then when we went to the next and it was assigning that value, it was assigning a null value because we assigned technically a null to the variable.
Okay. And then as it keeps going through, then it's bringing back the one that you already did. Okay, that checks in.
So I
Yeah.
didn't do what Bill does and restate your problem to make sure we were all clear on it, but is everyone clear on it? Is anyone sitting here scratching their head going, what did they talk about? Did they even resolve anything? Because if so, we'll definitely go through it more before we go back to Amanda. But basically the concept was you can use the filter to filter a collection that you've gotten previously with your pink get element, and then the filter can, using criteria, further reduce your collection to a smaller collection. And then if you need to say you reduce it all the way to 1, like Sandy did, you still can't just access the fields directly through the collection in a flow. You need to get the record out of that collection. So you do a loop where you would loop through and you would break out all your records and from your collection to use the ones you needed. And there's only the one. You still have to go through the loop. You're looping through 1, and then you're removing your record from a collection and you're putting it in just a record variable that's not a collection.
Right.
So
does it
and I
create
know
a
you know
second
it, Sandy,
collection?
but so
Does it create a second collection, or it's the same collection, it's just filtered on?
so when the filter
is-
comes through, you can now reference the filter like you can reference a get, and
Yeah.
it's got its own, it's a new collection essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Of
yeah,
the
now
first.
technically we have 2 collections in our flow.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that collection only contains 1 record, it is still classified as a collection. And
Okay.
therefore that's why it doesn't know exactly, like it can't pull like a specific singular information out of it to assign to a single variable. So you have to kind of basically reduce it a different way.
It makes sense then. You're looping through that one single collection record, and then hopefully it'll assign not a null, but some value to it. Okay.
Right. Yep. So yeah. And I'm hoping that maybe, because we're also hitting when we've tried fixing it in different ways and we finally got that thing to work, we are also then encountering one of those insufficient, access cross-reference ID thing. So I'm hoping it's maybe related to that. If not, I will come back.
Yeah, that's usually a sharing. It's usually trying to get an record you don't have access to as the flow runner, but we can come back to that.
I was gonna say, we're actually creating a record, which is why it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if I said this, but when you run the loop, make sure that you're assigning it to just a single record, not a record collection. Probably said that already, but
No, I
No,
don't
it's
think
good to be explicit. I
Yes.
think that's benefits everyone, Dan.
Right. I don't think it was that. Yes, I understand, but yes, just in case anybody else didn't catch that. Good point.
cool.
Amanda, how you doing? Okay.
More time.
There we go. Gotcha. Sorry, I was looking at your message, Dan, about the permissions. I was kind of going for that, but I hadn't figured that totally out yet. Let me go back to sharing my screen. So it'll let me.
We're all good. I know if you feel on the spot, but you're not.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'll make funny faces or something.
Okay.
So okay, now it's starting to share. I don't have to.
I do that. I do Irish dancing, and so whenever we have dances and stuff, if I have a new partner or we're changing position or something, I usually make a weird face to the person I'm facing. And
Okay, so I think that you guys can see it now. Is that correct?
We can see it.
Very good. Okay. And so I have all the pages up. So Dan, you said maybe I need to, if it's a flow, I have to make sure the guest user permissions in the general site settings has access to the flow. So obviously I went where you were talking about, and then had kind of started to pull that up. So this may be a problem, I guess. I thought I had my flows activated, but maybe not. So that might be a point.
Could also be a sharing on the flow, the sharing settings on the flow itself.
Okay. So okay. So again, so this is actually my so this is the published site. So if I was going to create my own contact here, I'll show you the screen that pops up. Well, come on. There it is. Okay. And I will go ahead and submit it. So if you guys can take a look, then this screen pops up here and it just kind of sits there. It doesn't really do anything. So I'm not sure why it's not submitting through. And then on the
Yeah. Amanda, can you show us how you built this? Because I don't think
Yes.
this is a flow. Like, I think this is web to lead, isn't it?
that's web to lead, but then I have the
Yeah.
flow as well. I'm sorry. You want me to go to I'll have to pull up the web to lead. I didn't get that, but then I also have the flows as well. So yes,
Yeah,
two
because
different
like
things.
what's the error message though? Like which part's breaking?
Yeah.
Yes. So this was the error with the flow. So I'm not totally sure.
Grab your error code or your error ID down at the bottom,
Yep.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
Grab it and search it.
Just how?
Yep.
You
Copy
find that
paste.
works, Megan?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So
the chat,
what's like the goal of this flow? You're trying
So,
to make
okay.
a contact record.
I am. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like it'll do the web to lead. So where it goes, people put in their information, and
Yeah.
then so that I did do the web to lead, and then once the lead is created, then the flow will initiate to create a new contact, and then the create a new contact will send an auto message. So there's two different flows, but
So
yeah.
Can you go back to that create contact one? Because this is where it's
Yes.
breaking. And then can you open up that action?
Which one?
The create a
Other one.
contact flow.
your first flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So why are you having it create a new contact rather than convert the lead into a contact?
I think that's what I'm meaning to say, I guess. So
Well, no, it looks like you are creating a new contact, but
mhm,
rather than create a new contact,
mhm.
do a convert to lead, and then that should actually,
Okay.
and then have you mapped?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, but I'm not, I guess I'm just
So-
not there yet.
so-
So
Go to your lead object.
okay. Okay, sorry, we're gonna
It's fine.
wait.
How you're planning to use leads, Amanda?
I just want to house them essentially. I just want to keep track of them.
But
And
so what's for you in your org, what's the difference between a lead and a contact?
because I wanted to use the web to lead functionality, but I guess I don't have to make them contacts. They could just stay as leads. So I just wanted to create a contact list, but I couldn't use the functionality because it was the web to lead functionality. And that's why I just wanted to convert it into a contact. Does that make sense?
Now, if
Kind
you're
of.
just, it sounds like you're, sorry,
Mm.
Stephen,
Oh,
it sounds
okay.
like you're just trying to come up, just do some use cases to see what you can, if you're actually planning to use these. I mean, in Salesforce, you get your leads, you convert them to your contacts and opportunities, and then and that's a whole
Right.
different process. And that's what Megan was talking about. And I think
Right.
Steven's trying to find out what is your plan for it, because you could just not use web to lead if you're just wanting contacts and just directly collect the contacts from.
Yeah.
It's all about
'Cause-
what's your use case.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
because at the moment, like, because you're not converting the lead, you're ending up with duplicates of everyone because you're creating a lead record and then you're creating a contact record, but they're not linked in
Right.
any way at all. And then so if you did in the future actually convert that lead, now you're gonna have duplicate contacts all over again. So
Right.
like when I've got like a little portfolio site where people can recommend a beer for me to drink. And then when they do that, like I just skip the entire lead process and I just create a contact and create an account for them. Cause like I don't actually care that they're a lead and like it's just a little fun site. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah,
But-
you just kind of got to figure out like what you want. Cause if you want accounts and things, then yeah, you just need contacts. And then so you can't use the web to lead functionality, but you can do it all with Flow, where people, you have like a first
Okay.
name field, a last name field, email
Right.
field, LinkedIn
Okay.
URL. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you do want the practice with this lead, you can do that web to lead thing functionality, do that. And even if you were actually successfully creating a contact that also ended up duplicating a lead, when you do
Mhm.
that convert to lead, it a lot of times will actually give you that, hey, we think that this one matches. And you can
Mhm.
either just convert it to an existing contact or you can create a new one. So there are that functionality with leads, and
Okay.
that those kind of like safety measures so that you're not
Sure.
creating contacts. But
Okay.
if you go back to your go back to the lead, and once you click on the fields and
Mhm.
relationships at the top, it should say for the mapping.
Mhm.
And so then if you click map lead fields,
Mhm.
and then that's where you can then collect, because you want to create contact, not account. So click on contact at the top of that. And then all the fields that you are basically populating with your lead, web to lead, make
Mhm.
sure that you're assigning it to what contacts you actually want, like what fields would be related. So that way, when it does do the conversion, it writes those fields from that spot to the spot on contact.
Right, because I made the same fields on the contact object.
So you need to do that mapping, and then rather
Right.
than create a new contact, try to create a flow where once the lead comes in, it automatically converts it to that contact, and see if maybe that works better.
I don't think you can convert in
Oh.
Flow. Need like
I don't know.
Apex.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't, which is why like I just skip the whole process. Like you got to call Apex.
Okay.
Last time I checked.
yeah, we actually because basically the project we are currently working on, where the question I had earlier, it's something similar, but they're creating a completely brand new object that comes in, and it takes the information from there, looks at a couple things, does an account already exist? If not, it actually creates the lead from there. And if it does, then it puts that information that's being requested on the account.
Okay.
So that's why
right.
we have a similar situation, but they're not using the web to lead, then they're using gravity forms and stuff like that. So
Okay. Well, let me mull that around and see if I can figure this out and ask another question. Thank you. That's helpful.
And please feel free to, ask these questions out in the Slack.
Okay.
And we
What's
can
the Slack?
give you some more follow-up in there. Let's see, do I have I should have that ready if I'm going to mention using it, shouldn't I? Let me grab our Slack.
I've got it. Let me
Okay,
post.
thanks. Yeah, if you could drop it.
Okay. Thank you.
And
So-
anybody should feel free to join that Slack channel. It's a good place to post questions during the week. And it's a good opportunity for you to jump in and take a look at what else is going on and offer your suggestions as well. So
Yep. Yeah, good stuff. And follow
Thank
up
you.
on things we talk about here. So, okay. So I think if we're at a good place for that, Megan,
I have a gee whiz, and then I have a dumb question. So I'm sure
you got to pick.
I have to pick. No,
Well, you tell me what you got to do. You're
I refuse. Sorry, okay, I was looking this up. I hate the stupid thing at the top. You get a minimized version. First, does everybody know that they can search to see which fields in their org are searchable? Let me tell you why this had to happen. On one of my projects, we're having an issue with person accounts. Person accounts are not searchable in list view. However, a bunch of our person accounts are searchable in list view. And it turns out it's because one of the filters is not on the person account itself. It's on a related thing that is searchable. And we have to figure out what our person accounts are missing that the other person accounts have, which led us down to this rabbit hole of there is something called Search Manager in settings that I've never heard of. Ryan, have you used this? So
I have
it's,
not. I'll be learning.
yeah, so it's over here. You have all your search left. So Search Manager tells you your objects, your storage size, and then you can go in one by one into your objects and see what is and what is not searchable. Formulas are not searchable, by the way. As a standard, they're not searchable. But that means on some of our person accounts, they're not searchable because the account names are from a formula. So that was not the problem. But anyway, so this is my gee whiz for you.
Did you know
go
that you
in
can
there.
create a report on objects and fields?
What?
I think we ought to have a session, a part of the meeting every week. Who's got some good gee whiz stuff? Because there's lots of good stuff out there I have no idea about.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you can create a report. You have to create a custom report to do it. And then I would highly recommend changing the labels on the report, because otherwise it just calls everything entities and definitions, and it's hard to know which one is your object and which one's your field.
oh, that makes sense. So
But
boom.
yeah,
So that's
I've used that before when I need to like create a spreadsheet of all the new fields that we've created and stuff. So
okay. You do know I'm building out an org right now. Do you realize how helpful that would be? So I will talk to you later today.
I'll post
So-
it in the Slack channel too, so that anybody else who wants to do it and make use of it, because it's really useful.
Awesome. Well, there's my gee whiz. Don't cut me off, Ryan. I have
Cool,
one
thanks. No. I'm not cutting anybody off. You
Plus
cut me
one
off.
more.
more. All right. So then here, okay. So I'm building out an org, and it's okay. There's nothing like real in here. This is just me building my own test stuff. So what I'm going to have is like a this isn't even the right word for it. So it's basically like a requisition. So I'm going to have requisition items on each one of these procurements. And so on my procurement items, requisition items, I'm going to have a number. It needs to be an auto assigned number. So right now I just have it as an actual number, right? But what I'm trying to figure out how to do is it wants to have them listed in order for each procurement. So what I'm worried about is if I give it an auto assigned number for the field, that it will just continue. So I'll have like on one procurement, I'll have procurement items 1 through 5. And then on the next procurement item, I'll have 5 through 10. Does that make sense? Because it's an auto number for record. I want them to be like 1 through 5, then 1 through 5, then 1 through 5. And I don't know if I need to build that through a flow so that when they start creating new ones on an object, it just does a +1 to the number, or if I'm overthinking it. that make
You're
sense?
probably overthinking it and can do it on a flow, but I don't think auto number is what you're
You're not
looking
gonna
for here. Auto
no.
number is just going to continue on no
That's
matter
what I
what.
thought.
Auto number is going to be unique.
Yeah.
Like, and so unique that like, even if you deleted auto number 3, and that was the next one in line anyway, the next one that you create will be 4.
Yeah, it'll never create number 3 ever again.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm gonna have to come up with something else. Okay, so my next idea on this was to make it like auto. So once a new procurement is created, as the procurement items are added, each one would be like a +1.
Yeah, and you could do this in a flow.
I mean, it sounds very similar to like quote and quote lines.
That I know nothing about. Thank you, Sandy, for rubbing that in.
I'm learning now. But the only reason I have any idea on that one is because we worked with somebody, and that's actually one of the things that was an issue with, even though it sorts it and gives it a number, when we converted it to an order, it was not keeping that order. So something that was actually related to another thing wasn't showing up in the same order. And so it was hard for them to figure out what matched what.
But I'm trying to understand, and this is my own issue, is that they say that it needs an item number, but to me, that means they would have the item number for it. Because this is a database. I'm not creating anything for them. This is a storage facility for them to make reports and check things, historical data, things like that. I think they should just be manually putting it in when they create it, because there's nothing for them to pull from. There's no external databases or anything like that. So you think I should do it on a flow once I
Well, when I said that, I think I was picturing you have an object and then child objects, and
it's a master
for record X on the master, each child should be 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that's the case,
yes.
Yeah, you can accomplish that with the flow, especially if you're just doing a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 as your numbers.
But I guess my other thing though is I mean, technically, like, it's not a number that they're going to keep. It's just a number so they can visually see it. So, which I feel like Salesforce does that already, and I feel like I'm overthinking it, or they're overthinking it.
Your
Because,
auto number will allow, if it's just so that they can sort by it and keep them in order of the one that came in first, auto number will do that. They just won't be in order.
They might just, not consecutive.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing to think about is that a lot of times when you're dealing with people that are non-technical, they're used to things working a certain way. And they kind of keep that mindset, and they want to see an exact duplicate of what they're used to in the new system. And sometimes you just have to explain to them that we got to do a little bit of a mindset shift, and that you're going to get the same functionality. It's just not going to look exactly the same way.
And if you could see their Excel spreadsheets that they live in right now, you would just cry. Because that's all they're
Very
using.
common.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
The question for you, or maybe you asking them, when
Yeah.
they're looking at the list of items within a procurement, how are they looking at it? Are they trying to do like a print view? Are they looking at it as a related list? Because then you're right, it will already be numbered.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking is what they really mean, but they don't know what they mean. And then it doesn't get translated correctly to me.
Right. And sometimes that's what you just need to do. You need to ask those follow-up questions, and maybe even kind of like, because if they're going to be looking at it just as a list view and it's still living in Salesforce, then you can show them the fact that, hey, you click on this related list, it gives you everything that's on that screen. You can see how it's numbered, on the side. And then if you need to sort it different ways, these are the different ways you can sort it. But that way it's listed and you have the actual, numbers, and you can see that list. If it's something else that you need, what exactly is it that you're looking for? Why do you need it numbered? Or,
Yeah.
Because I know like the print view is the reason that we had to deal with that number, and I had to figure out a way to sort them and create them and stuff, is because it mattered because one team actually had to print it because they did have to enter it manually into another system because they're still in the process of going from their old system to Salesforce. So
We are where they are manually putting everything, and it's not even attached to anything else, and it will never be attached to anything else that they're using. So, which makes it, the use case is just very weird to me with everything that's available and what it's being used for. It's very, but that's the thing. I want to build it in a way that hopefully they will see what else they can do with it and then start adding on.
So my thoughts are just sort by created date, you're done. Or if you do want to have the auto number field, it'll take care of the sorting. But if they don't like the color, and you absolutely have to have it say 1, 2, 3, 4, that's when you need a flow. But that seems like overkill for what they want. So I'd go back and do more discovery.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it is doable with the flow. If you must do, it's got to be one. Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be my answer though. If I do have to do it, I am just going to have to build a flow.
Probably. I mean, I got to
Possibly,
see the whole,
yes.
but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Because the other issue, of course, is the fact that if they add or take away, or how would it get renumbered?
That's, yeah.
So that would be the only reason why I'd really not recommend doing
Feels
it.
overkill.
Like I would recommend trying to find, talk to them and figure out if there's an alternate method that makes sense that still gets them what they want. Because yeah, if they end up deleting one off of there, is it going to throw off the number? You're going to have to run a flow again.
Well, and that's just it, right? It's not like their Excel spreadsheet where they're going to drag it up or move it around and it'll give them that number again, right?
Yeah. It sounds like they don't
So-
care about the number. So I would explore what Steve and Sandy said and just, other ways of them viewing it. Sort it by created date, done. You don't even have to do any special field for that.
Yeah.
If they just want them in order of that they were made.
Alphabetically, whatever. There's so many different ways that they can sort it,
Mhm.
and it is numbered because it's a related list.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
And I don't know whether it was Prince or, well, I only see Prince's hand up now. I didn't know if it was Prince or Scott who had their hand up first. So
Prince was first.
okay, what you got, Prince?
Okay, hello everyone. So my issue is with PODAT or account engagement. So I did create a custom object in PODAT, trying to create dynamic list rules. And normally this is where the custom object will populate. But for some reason, the custom object that I just created will not populate. When you choose prospect custom object, I'm unable to share my screen, sorry, because I'm using a different PC. But essentially, it looks like there's a relationship that I have to create to be able to get that custom object populate, but I'm not sure how that works. So if anybody has any insights on that would be greatly appreciated.
Is the custom object is it in Salesforce proper, or is it in the account engagement proper? Because even though they seem like they're in the same system, they're not.
Okay, so it's in Salesforce proper.
Okay, have you linked that? Because with Pardot, you can only link a certain number of custom fields or custom objects.
So I have to link one of the fields on the custom object in Pardot. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, you basically have to give Pardot the permission to look at that custom object. And I think you can only do, it's like a stupid number, like 3 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like for the custom object, it's just 4. But the custom field that you do have
What object, your custom field, is it on a custom object or is it on one of the standard objects?
So it's the custom object that I'm trying to pull, but I haven't connected any custom field from that custom object yet. So
So you have to link that in Pardot. I
Mhm.
can't remember exactly where because it's been a while since I've done Pardot, but in Pardot, there's a spot where you can basically tell Pardot which objects it can pull data from.
Okay.
So if you don't have it linked with that, it won't sync between the two.
Okay. Then I'll look out for that and see if that would solve it. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Oh, Ryan's back. Good.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll go. Yeah, I'm not your Pardot guy, so glad that we have Sandy here who's had experience with it in the past. It's one of those things where if you don't touch it, I don't know its uniqueness. So good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Okay.
In the Slack.
Yeah, and hit me up in Slack too, and I'll try to help you there if that didn't help you.
Okay, sure, I'll do that. Thank you.
I'm not an expert, just so you know. I've just had to do troubleshooting for other people.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a few things that I remember from that. And
Okay. Okay, cool.
but yeah,
Thank you.
there's definitely enough uniqueness with Pardot that it can sometimes be really frustrating.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, Prince. So okay, Scott, look, we got to everybody, it looks like. So what you got? You're still muted, but
Sorry. Okay, here we go. Yeah, thank you. So the issue I'm having is with the report. So it's a report on the cases assigned to a specific queue, and my users want to see the only the most recent case comment in that report, because I can add case comments as a column, but then it shows every single case comment that's associated with that case. And if there's a whole bunch of them, that gets pretty annoying to look at all that. And I'm not figuring out how to filter. As far as I can tell, I'm just researching now, there's no filter for most recent. So I would have to build a flow if I'm thinking it through this correctly.
I mean,
You're in a report.
Yeah.
So
I'd make a flow that would get that case comment and then populate make a new field, a text field that's just like most recent case comment, and then display that on the report.
well, but depending on how long that text field is, you
Yeah,
may not be able to put that on the report either, because it can't,
right,
there's certain things that can't go on a report.
exactly. So I might just this may be a they have to live with it, or is this something that I can do? Yeah.
I feel like there should be a way.
Yeah, right.
I would think you should be able to do this, but I don't have personal experience with this exact situation. Are you able to share?
Let me see. Well, no, my case comments have account numbers in them, so I can't.
Yeah,
anybody have
that's
a
why I
dev
was
board
asking,
handy?
and that's something for everyone. We can't always share on this call because
Yeah.
we could be.
I
dealing
wish
with all kinds
I
of
wish
stuff.
I could just filter out those, but then that defeats the purpose.
Does anyone have a dev org handy or a Trailhead org open that they can share and we can play with?
Not one that's got any cases in it.
Well, most of the Trailhead ones should come pre-populated, shouldn't they?
Probably pop up in a Trailhead playground.
Just to reiterate, this is the first time that us co-hosts are handling the
Right.
meeting. We're still fumbling around a little bit. We appreciate everybody's patience.
Yeah, I can try to.
I've got one open right now. I just opened
Okay,
one
go
up.
ahead and take it.
We can go ahead and
cool.
share. Let's do that. Share that one.
I was gonna say I can pull one up and you can walk me through it, but probably better if you take the reins on it. Show us what you got.
Okay, so
yeah, I gotta think like, yeah, Bill's always ready with that, right?
Yeah. Okay, can you guys see that screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Reports.
Okay, let's make sure that the cases actually have some case comments in them too.
Yeah, let's see what we got. Where's
No, so let's throw. So what you want to throw? What, like 3 comments real quick and try to grab the top 2? I don't know what you're trying to.
just the first one?
Oh, just the last one. Okay, just the most recent one. And you can't.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
use a filter on
Yeah.
the report by created date?
Yeah.
Yeah, should be plenty.
Reports. So,
We need a custom report that's cases with comments, or
no,
Let's have a case comment create date.
yeah, so you might be
so
able to
there we
filter.
go.
Also has a case comment last modified by.
Okay, so there. Okay, so we got case comments, case comment created date. So
Yeah, I'm not sure how I would write it, but I feel like you could write a filter that might try to get your most recent.
yeah, I was okay. Let's see.
I think
Can you?
So I was thinking like, okay, so I just no, that doesn't make sense.
no, I can't picture the filter in my head at
Yeah,
all.
I can't either. I've been running through it. I tried several different scenarios, but none of them generate any data. So so I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just have to live with their case comments in their report. But
Well, I was also thinking, what if you, okay, so go back to your outline
mhm.
and put the like case number or as your group.
Right. Yeah, right.
And then if you do that update preview automatically, you don't have to keep saving.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, that at least pulls you into one area.
And then what I was thinking is if you do the detail rows, turn that off. You know, so then they could kind of, you can see all the cases, and then if they want to look at one specific, they
Yeah,
can
right,
scroll
right,
down.
right.
So that might make it a little bit smaller. So it's not a huge list.
Okay. Right, okay.
That might be one.
Yeah, I think this is probably like grouping them by case number is probably the easier way to do it. And even though they'll still be there, they'll be separated. It won't
Yeah.
just be a big.
Or
big
even by
smash.
subject, if it's easier to, identify the case by subject too, instead of case number, but either way.
You actually do it by both of them, and then it's just.
And then if you sort by your case comment created date, that'll put your most recent at the top, because
Right.
it happens to be at the top right now, but they're still out of order. So
Yeah. So okay, that would put it in order. Yeah, so that because number 3 is the most recent. Okay, yeah, that helps. I mean, I think
it's not exact, but
yeah. Well, it's better than nothing. I mean, the other option was just to like really, I'd have to dig into Flow a lot more, and I haven't used the get related lists feature, and I don't know if that would even work, and how that would how I would pull the most recent related list out of that.
you would just
Flow.
get your case comments that have that case ID, the parent case as their case ID, and then you would just sort it, grabbing in your get, you would sort it.
Okay.
Ascending by date. I'll mix up my ascending and descending by date. I have to think them out, but you'll sort it by
descending.
date and just get one record.
Oh, okay.
And then you could put that into, I guess you're talking about making another field to show the like most recent comment.
Right.
And then you can, then your report's super easy. You put your most recent comment one. That's actually a pretty easy thing to do, but it requires that flow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, with that flow, maybe just make it like a checkbox or something like that. And then that way it's checking the most recent comment that we don't have to actually create like a whole text field or anything. And then you can use that as your filter, like check if the comment is checked, show it on this report.
Okay. So make a checkbox on the comment.
And then filter. That's, yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
That's even.
That's
That's even
easier. That makes it a
simpler.
lot easier. Yeah. That simplifies it. Okay, that's
Now you don't have to make another field.
Yeah.
Go, Sam.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Wow, that's pretty cool. We'll see. Brainstorm.
I like
Yeah,
checkbox. I use checkboxes a lot, and then keep them off the page layout. If I need
Right.
to, like, check something, or I will create like because I have it was basically a it's a formula checkbox. So if the formula evaluates true, it checks it, but I keep it off the page layout, and then that way, if it's checked. And these are usually like time ones. So then my scheduled flow will look for if this record has that check mark, then it will hit that criteria and go through the flow, because it's a lot easier to update a formula on an object on a field than it is to go in and change a flow.
Right. Okay. So just for my lizard brain purposes, where am I finding the place to edit the case comments related list? Like, where can I add that checkbox field to it?
So you'd add it on the case comments object in Object Manager.
Okay.
You'd make a new field that you didn't put on a layout, like Sandy said.
I don't know if you can actually edit that object.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's
one of
what
the
I'm thinking.
is that one of the objects we don't have access to?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, that part might not work.
Well, then I can still do the little
can still-
slightly more complicated flow. Yeah.
Yeah, add another
Add the
text
field
to your
Yeah.
case, and then just put the most recent one in there.
I
Okay.
don't mean to break up the conversation, guys, but we're at the top of the hour. So remember that you can join the Slack channel and we can continue any conversations there. We can help with whatever questions you have, and hope to see you guys next week.
Thank you.
This was fun. I hope we help some folks, and catch you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thanks all.